So welcome to the Year 4 residential webinar, where we just aim to give you a bit of information about what you can expect from the residential. Hopefully, if you're undecided, this might help you think about whether you want to take the leap and sign up for the trip to Marchants Hill, which, as you can see, takes place next May, from the 7th to the 9th of May next year. So I'm joined by the Year 4 team. Thank you so much. And I will hand over to them.
So some of the information on these slides will be for nearer the time, but we thought it would be useful for you to have access to things like kit lists as we go through.
And rough ideas of timings and structures or whatever, but that will confirm all of that much closer to the time. It should give you a very broad overview, we hope.
And we do really genuinely want as many of you as possible to do this activity. We can accommodate children with medical needs, with dietary needs. There is financial support available via Walton Charities, and I know that an email went out yesterday with details as to how to go about accessing that.
There you go. So we'll definitely be going, and then once we've got final numbers, we can work out, but we'll have at least 3 or 4 other Grovelands adults coming with us. But as we say, once we have final numbers, we can work out exactly who we're taking and how many there will be and how we'll distribute them. But your children will be well looked after by all of those that attend.
And they will know the adults that they're with. So we travel by coach. There is a packing list, but we won't worry too much about that, except it might be useful for you to just, if you haven't got things like sleeping bags, just to have access to that. So we don't really need to spend too much time on this.
Apart from the fact that, because I've already had some questions about it already, no electronic devices or mobile phones, which we'll reiterate as we get closer. But yes, we do tend to say a hard no to things like that.
Really good for them to have a week without technology, or at least a couple of days without technology, because then they realise they can do it.
This is the kit list. There is a thing to click on at the top which gives you more details. So if you're worried about what to bring or what you will need to have in order to come on this trip, please don't buy anything new. The clothes need to be old. We do activities, we're lighting fires, and
they will take place whatever the weather as well. So there is every chance that they could get wet or muddy or dusty or torn or other things. So basically don't send anything you don't mind not coming back in quite as good fashion as when it left your house. But like Mrs. Dickinson said, sleeping bags are possibly something that people won't necessarily have immediate access to.
So it might be good to get your hands on one of those.
Yes. Again,
this is a more detailed list of things that children might need to have. One thing that we should say is that the tops, no matter what the weather, it's good to have long sleeve tops, because the children wear harnesses that dig in to their skin if they're in if they've got bare arms, if they've got just short sleeved t-shirts on. So the tops do need to be long sleeve, and long hair needs to be tied back, because again it gets caught in the harnesses and things. Yes, we will say this.
We'll say this. We will say this again, and obviously the kit list will hopefully not provide you with a suitcase the size of a small car, but they will have to carry their own luggage to and from the accommodation. The journey is not a long one; it's a very short walk. But obviously, if we've got to help 60 odd children with their luggage, we can't do it for everybody. So something that they can carry is ideal.
We have had that in the past, where if a bag is not on wheels, the child has had to carry it. And it is quite a distance.
Yes.
And we can't, because we've got our own things, plus any medical stuff and all the extra things we bring. So we can't carry it for them.
And a bit like electronic devices, please no to sweets and other things, because if they get themselves worked up and sick or unable to sleep, then they will be most grumpy, I'm sure.
They don't need makeup. The girls don't need makeup. We're not having a disco, and we're not going, they don't need party clothes, nothing like that. Okay, so the day works out. We set off from school, so the children will come at the normal time. We leave mid-morning. It takes approximately an hour, depending on traffic, to get there. And last time we did have a meal there. That is to be confirmed. So it may be that they need to bring a packed lunch, but last time we were fed when on arrival. And we will be returning after our very action-packed days at about 2 o'clock. We will keep people informed as we go.
If you have a sibling, I know we can go through this first time as well, but if there is a sibling in school, you can collect them at the time you pick up your child from the coach as well, to save you having to mill around for about an hour until they're ready.
Okay, this is the sort of timetable that we can expect. So we get up, we have breakfast, we have 2 sessions with a short break in between, we have lunch, and then we have 2 more sessions, eat again, and then there's an evening activity, and we go to bed about 9:30.
Yeah.
Children are not too tired. Well, they should be very tired by
they are very well worn out by the end of the day's activities. So yes, they are more than ready for bed by the time we get to 8, 9, 9:30.
And typically they sleep better on the second night.
Yes,
don't they?
Yes.
We will be deliberately selecting activities to encourage the following skills. So things like team building and confidence, things that we can't always do in the classroom, which is why we really would love your children to come along. Not all of the activities are
adventurous.
No, so some of them are more strategic, and that is to cater for all types of children. You know, some love zip wires and things, and some like a little bit more of a quieter activity. So we have a whole range of activities.
Here's a rough example of a timetable from a couple of years ago. The structure will be basically the same. The activities may differ. We can't confirm them immediately because we need to wait for PGL to send us a timetable, which will be based off the instructors and what equipment they have up and running at the time. But things like the giant swing are staples of any PGL trip. I'm sure any of you who've had children go on there before will be aware of that. But games like Survivor or whatever are a bit more strategic. But then we've got Jacob's Ladder, which is a climbing one on there. Last year we had the zip line, raft building, other things as well, and then orienteering, which is a bit more low energy but still quite cerebral, I think, because they still really liked it. Yeah.
So these are just some examples of the adrenaline activities. So we did go on the giant swing. The children loved the rock climbing and the zip wire. And again, if your child does not like to do those things, what we found was some of them would get the harnesses on, have a look, decide, yes, they might watch some of their friends do it, decide they're going to have a go. They don't have to. They are encouraged, but they don't have to do anything that they really don't want to do.
Yeah, there you go. And there's some of the strategic thinking examples as well.
And this is important for quite a few children in our year, so we will go through it. So eating arrangements is communal. There will be other schools around. It is a nut-free kitchen, and all diets can be catered for. So whatever, so as long as we know beforehand, we can instruct the chefs there, and they will accommodate all of those needs prior to us going there.
And if your child is particularly what some might call a fussy eater or whatever, or a bit unsure, the volume of food and the choice of food is really quite vast. So there will be something that they will be able to eat. So there won't be a reason for them to go hungry. We hope.
And it's 3 good meals throughout the day.
Very good meals.
So food is great. There's a sample menu which we won't go through. You can have a look at in your own time.
Yes. There you go. Some pictures of the site and what the dining tables look like and the
so
stuff.
What happens is we are given a time slot for eating, and children with dietary needs go to the front of the queue, and those children are catered for first, and then we're given an allocated spot to sit in as well. So
sleeping arrangements kind of differ. The exact specifics of it differ depending on the block that we're in, which again we can confirm when we have numbers. But by and large, we're housed in whatever cabins or rooms that we're given. There are usually 4 to 6 beds in a room. There is an ensuite bathroom with a shower. Staff have rooms that will be kind of at the end of the corridors normally that the children are on, and we'll make sure that they know where we are as well. So if there is a problem in the night, they know where to find us. If bedwetting is a thing, then that's not a problem at all. They're very discreet and they're very good at providing a laundry service for that. We can talk that through with children if they're particularly worried, or they can just come and tell us that they've spilt some water on their bed and they need some new bedclothes, and we can get that sorted for them. It is a bunk bed system, but normally they're pretty good at sorting out who would like to be on the top and who would be at the bottom. But it is also worth noting it is a secure site where they're sleeping, so only the staff at the centre will have the codes for getting in and out, so they should be well secure overnight.
Okay, so again, we don't want anybody to be put off if they have any medical issues at all. So we have a process and we can give medicines.
Yeah, same thing. If your child is ill while we're away, we'll give you a call. We'll ask permission if we need to give them any basic medicines such as paracetamol, Calpol, Nurofen, that sort of thing. There are first aiders on site. And therefore all the staff are first aid trained in case of any other injuries, cuts, bruises, that sort of thing. If your child is sick or has an upset stomach, then we will have to ring you and get them to collect them, because we've got to stick to that 48-hour rule that applies in school as well. In the worst case scenario, and we should all be fine, but in the worst case scenario, there is a hospital 20 minutes away should anything really bad happen.
So we are contactable by the school. And we give daily updates, and we're in constant contact with Mr. Tuck. And if you do need to contact us, you would go through the school and we will have a message if there is an emergency.
Yes.
So we are 24-hour contactable. Okay. One thing I would like to say is that the children are grouped. They're asked who they would like to be with. We can't do the groups obviously until we know who's coming, how many children we have, but they will be grouped with at least one friend. And last year it worked out that most of them were in a friendship group that they were really happy with. That was for sleeping. And then during the day, if there are any other children that they would like to be with, we work really hard to make sure that those children are in their group. So we do try to make it, as pleasurable as possible, and they're with people that they enjoy being with.
Well, thank you very much to both of you guys. I think it was a really, really informative presentation, and hopefully gives you lots of information about what you can expect from the trip next year. We will absolutely answer your questions in a moment. What I would say before we do that is it's a fantastic opportunity. It's a really memorable experience. I know that, when I think back to my primary school, I remember the trips away probably more than anything else. So
my grown-up children also as well. It's the trips, it's the fun they had with their friends that they remember.
So I would, really encourage you to think carefully about it and give it a go. And like Mrs. Dickinson said, there's no pressure on the sort of more adventurous activities. And quite often those children who might find those a bit more difficult will come back having pushed themselves out of their comfort zone, and they'll almost get more out of it, the most out of it as anyone, because they come back so thrilled with what they've been able to achieve. Right, so I can see there's some thank yous in the chat, which is great. I will stop sharing now. Does anyone have any questions before we finish? Okay, well, look, thank you so much for coming. The recording will be available online, so thank you if you're watching it online as well. If you have any further questions, or if you've got a specific thing you want to ask about your child, please do, come and speak to your teachers, and they will be able to help you when you're making the decision. All right, take care. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.